first thing we did was we just looked at flexibility, right? And so the next thing we're looking at is effectiveness. We can be really flexible and really ineffective. Who had the really high score? Okay. Well, okay, 21. Someone had a real high score. Is that you? Okay. And then, so you're doing really good as far as flexibility, what appears to be. All right, so now we're determining style effectiveness. So effectiveness means, to me, we had this story about effectiveness and efficiency, right? So effectiveness means to me you're doing the right things and you're getting the right results, and that's the definition way I see effectiveness. Okay, so how do we score this in the flexibility or the effectiveness score? You do the same thing, almost the same thing. You transfer all the letters over. What does PFGE mean? In the top of that. Yep, exactly what it means. So, according to the template, if you have scores that are poor, then that was the least effective response to that scenario. Okay? Does that make sense? And then fair would be a little bit better, and good is a little bit better than that, and excellent, of course, is the best you could do, according to the template. So now you add up those scores at the bottom, right? Okay, so then what do you do?
Multiply each total
by the numbers below, and then you add those up, right? And then then you have a style effectiveness score, and you put that on the graph. Okay? So when you put it on the graph, you end up finding where you are as far as effectiveness. Okay. And I'm just kind of looking over your shoulders. Okay, so now you got effectiveness, right? So what does that tell you? And it explains it below. Right. Scores between, let's see, what's the score? 20 and 80. Style effectiveness scores range between 20 and 80, and the mean score is 54. And below 50, low effectiveness, you select more fair and good and poor leadership style choices. So we just already said that, right? So there's nothing new there. All right, so that gives you the effectiveness score. How many people feel that's probably a good representation of what you think you are? And this is hard. I mean, leadership's not an easy thing, because some of us want to push real hard, and some of us just want people to behave, and we have different opinions on how, and a lot of it's how we're brought up and how we've experienced things, and so it's just hard to be perfect in any one of these. So that was a good statement. You felt like this is really good representation of parenting, even, and you gave an example of teenagers, I think, or just that's. And we have some other comments like smack them around in the class, but okay. So now, so that sounds like there's at least you saw some value in it. And overall, what do you think about the leadership, situational leadership? So now you're seeing an application of it. Does it make more sense with the application? And you had a lot of challenges for the application. You said it looks like it was off in some places. Okay, so now let's go to the back page and just talk through the back page. I may be going too slow for some of you, but it'll help those that haven't done yet to at least score it quickly. All right, a style effectiveness grid from the earlier one. We're going to place numbers, and it goes over and explains that poor, fair, good, and excellent. We're going to put those scores into this style matrix on the very back of the page, right? And so, tell me how to do that. Where do we put what? Okay. Okay. All right. And Okay, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to improve ourselves, right? So we're trying to figure out what are those times when we use the wrong solution to answer the question. And so how many got they need to improve S1? You're doing pretty good, looks like. So S1's not a problem for you. I can see, being a perfectionist, S1 would not be a problem. All right, how many people feel like they have to be a little tougher? S1. Or did you get that far? Come on, guys. Anyway, you get the gist of this, right? And so it wouldn't be hard to go and add. Let's see, you're probably already there. Let me see what you got. You both have very similar as far as S3. You can't cheat off each other. So there was an S3, could be improved. Now, what would that tell you? What does S3 say? Okay, we had different, if you live there, then you're kind of a country club manager, right? So if this is where you lived, but if you have to improve this, you maybe not have enough fun. You're not, that could be a possibility. You're not celebrating enough. Let's see where you are. You're pretty even. But probably, if for example, if you're the if most of what you have is in S1, then probably need to be a little tougher, right? If most of what you have is in S2, then what would that say about you? Collaboration, maybe? A little more collaboration? If most of your pores is in S3, then maybe you're not having enough fun with the people.
So I can take this to my boss. Have candy on my desk.
Or maybe, let's see. Maybe the relationship part. Maybe you're not easing off enough on people. You know, maybe you're being too rough on people.
Yeah.
And maybe that's it. I don't know. But there's a bunch of ways to interpret this, and it all depends on personality and application and everything else. Okay, if S1 is, or S4, the last one, if that's where most of your pores are, what does that say about you? You're ineffective when it comes to S4. Yeah, I think that's probably it. You don't want to take your hands off of it. You want to be involved. Maybe you micromanage too much, possibly. Does that make sense?
That one turned out good for you guys.
You did?
The one before said I need to delegate more, but this one, I'm S2.
Okay. And so that's collaboration.
Right.
So maybe...
So I don't ask for help enough? Is that what it is?
Maybe you're making decisions for people too much. Possibly. Instead of getting them involved and making decisions. Or maybe you're...
Sounds pretty accurate.
Or you could be letting them make decisions, and it could be in a bunch of things, but it depends on where you are. So it could be depending on where you are. It could be a couple of different things. But this is collaboration. So if you make decisions for everybody and micromanage, then that could be a problem. Or if you let them make all the decisions, and then that could also be inappropriate, right? Okay, so was that of value? Yeah, it's another way to look at things, right? And now, how would you use this to your benefit? This is important because you should make a decision based on all the knowledge you have, and this is just a small piece of that. And maybe you could look at that and say, well, I need to be more flexible. I need to interpret the situation a little better if you're not flexible, if you're very inflexible. And maybe if you have a poor leadership style somewhere, that's something you can work on improving. And they're kind of related, because if you have a poor in a certain area and you're inflexible, that means that you're that style of management a lot of times. And so, okay, so